The ANC is launching its 2021 Local Government Election Manifesto in Pretoria this afternoon. Although Cosatu President Zingiswa Losi has expressed support for the ANC in the upcoming elections, can the party count on the Federation's loyalty? Let's discuss this now with General Secretary Bheki Ntshalintshali. General Secretary, thank you very much for your time. Can I start with this question? Has Cosatu and its affiliates come to a decision about whether or not it is going to support the ANC going into these local government elections?
Indeed, if you remember, we had a special CEC in April, where we took a decision that we will support the ANC in the upcoming local government election. So we've taken a decision 6 months ago. We still stick to that decision. We'll be mobilizing our members as per their own instruction that we should be backing up the African National Congress in this upcoming local government election.
You speak about a CEC that took place in April. I want to bring you forward to the CC. This is now the Central Committee meeting, or should we say what is usually called a mid-term conference of Cosatu to review its decisions that were taken by the conference which elected you and the other officials. What has been the decision coming out of that particular meeting around this issue of supporting the ANC?
The Central Committee reaffirmed the decision that was taken by the CEC, as you are indicating. So the position as it stands now is that we are supporting the African National Congress and will be mobilizing for it to win the election.
Are the affiliates of Cosatu, General Secretary, are the affiliates also on board, in particular the largest affiliate, Nehao?
Cosatu is not Cosatu without its affiliates. The meeting that we had was a meeting of the affiliates. All affiliates supported the decision. There was no dissenting voice in terms of supporting the African National Congress.
Okay. Let's talk then about what has emerged through media reports this weekend, and that is that some Cosatu affiliates have rejected, it was reported, the initiative of crowdfunding, which was an idea that came through the Treasurer General of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, this in trying to solve the financial crisis that the party faces in terms of paying its workers. What was the attitude of affiliates on this particular matter of raising money through crowdfunding in order to pay the ANC staff?
Not some affiliates. All Cosatu affiliates does not or do not support the issues of crowdfunding. They think the ANC needed to develop a better strategy of how it's going to be financing its own operations moving forward. So the question, as we understand them, of putting ahead and ask people to make a contribution there and there, Cosatu Central Committee find that is not sustainable. As a result, they did not support it at all. Not some unions. The discussions was in that meeting, and of course voices came out to the conclusion that we do not support crowdfunding.
Does Cosatu understand, or does it make sense to Cosatu how the ANC can have money to campaign but not have money to pay its employees?
We understand the question that some money in the campaigns, you get people who are donating, is a once-off in dealing with those issues. But if you are going to be running for sustaining the organization, there has to be self-sufficient. That's what Cosatu believes on. That's why members paying subscription in that context. And within political party, they have to have a thorough discussion how political parties are going to be funded moving forward, because they do have staff they do have some internal needs that need to be taken. And we don't want, on the other hand, to be stretching their hands to look to the resources in government, which may end up in corruption. So there has to be a discussion, as there was a discussion in the question of the political funding. We think when that debate was being raised, people were to be quite clear in the political parties, how are they going to fund themselves as political parties? So they needed to have that kind of a debate moving forward.
General Secretary, as we conclude this conversation, the understanding, or how people, I should say, some people have digested this whole matter about ANC staff who constantly, month to month, are being told, we're not going to be able to pay you this month because of financial constraints, and yet the party has money to campaign on the other side. This, by some people, has been interpreted as the ANC, which should be leading by example by paying its staff and making provision for its staff to be paid. It has been interpreted as somehow the very same way that in the near future, government employees may be treated by this governing party because it controls the levers of government.
Look, we were very concerned about workers not to be paid, irrespective of who the employer is. And we'll treat ANC when it comes to staff like any other employer in that direction. We are working with those members there. We're recruiting them to join unions so that they can be able to address their needs as employees, because we know the problem that they are facing. What we did not agree on in terms of this crowdfunding is that unions, even unions as we speak here in Cosatu, some of them are retrenching their staff. And we had not had a debate in Cosatu of how we support those employees. And some of the unions are not paying their staff on a monthly basis. Some are paying them late. So the question of not even have discussed how we support the unions in Cosatu who are facing similar problem would be supporting another organization in terms of paying its employees was not an issue that was going to be perceived well within the federation itself. The question of how other organizations in the world, because our democracy is still new, how do they support their own operation? And I think we needed to be learning from there and going back international and said, how do they manage to support their internal situation? We separate the question of government budget as well as the ANC because we don't think they are the same. Government or employee ANC in itself is not an employer in the state. So government is an employer, but in Luthuli House, the ANC is the employer.
General Secretary, as we wrap up, going back to the issue of financing or at least supporting the ANC, in what form has Cosatu over the years supported the ANC when it comes to elections?
We support first by choosing that we will support the ANC in the election and to ensure that our support is well received by our members. The first constituencies that we go to is to go back to our members and say why we have taken a decision to support the ANC, what is good by supporting the ANC, and we speak frankly with our members in relation to identify achievement, but also identify the question of those issues that has not been managed well, including some maybe legislation that the ANC has not implemented fully. From there, then we go to call our members and their family to join the ANC by producing pamphlets, by producing posters. That's how we normally do it, by producing some T-shirt like the one I'm wearing today and says, vote ANC. But that's what Cosatu says, and that's what Cosatu appeals to. So that's how we normally support. We go on, sometimes we'll hire some sound system going around the township or industrial areas and talk to our members as to say why it is important to support the ANC to win election. So we run our own campaign. We don't run the ANC campaign.
Cosatu General Secretary Bheki Ntshalintshali, thank you very much for your time.